Hello everyone. Hi. If anyone there, please say something in the chat and say hi in the chat and let me know whether you can hear me well or see me well, what the audio is like. I think I'm a little bit too close to the camera, and Marco is here, by the way. I have to sit on the floor so he can sit next to me. But I think I'm a little bit too close to the camera. Okay, so maybe that's a little bit better. Can you let me know whether you can hear me well? Please say something in the chat, because I think the last previous lives, the audio wasn't very good. It's kind of lagging a little bit, and sometimes it just cut out. So I'm using the microphone this time. Hopefully the audio is good. And we have some sunlight today too, so so hopefully there's no technical issues. But come on here, Marco. Hope everyone here is doing well. This weekend it's quite cold here in Nova Scotia. There's like a recent snowstorm yesterday, so we got like a foot of snow. So I'm not going anywhere, just staying inside this weekend. So today though, I decided that I'm gonna read the chapter 4 of my book because it's... Hi Shan, you can hear me well. Hi Van Life Biker. I'm gonna read the chapter 4 of my book because it's quite a short chapter. So I think we will have time to do a little bit of the reading, and then I will go in depth to explain the chapter and the story behind the story, maybe. Thank you, Van Life Biker. Okay, so let's get to it. This is the first time that I get to read my book. It's quite exciting to actually have the book in person. Okay, so chapter 4. You ready? So chapter 4, The Hermit. The energy of the hermit archetype encourages us to go within, to find answers for what we're seeking to know. To go within, we need to isolate ourselves from the outside world. This card is all about introspection, solitude, and reflection. The sixth law of the universe can be depicted by the gray color gown the hermit is wearing. Its gray is the combination of black and white. The two opposites stand of the law of polarity that exists in all things. When we find a balance between polarity is when we can find wisdom from within. The staff he's holding signifies that balance of polarities. Therefore, the color gray is the color of wisdom that is found from going within. By looking inward, we can see the light held by the hermit, and that guide us out of the darkness. So every chapter I give like a little bit of like a short description of the tarot card, like what this card really means on the symbolism, and sometimes numerology, and sometimes the color and the meaning of the image. Like every little details in tarot card has meaning. So that's kind of like the general meaning of it. Like as you can see, like the old man in the gray gown holding up the light, and it's appear like he's in the dark. So that gives you kind of like a feeling like being somewhere in a dark place, but there's a light that guiding you out of the dark. So I really like this card. because it has such beautiful meaning behind it. Okay, now I'm going to the story of this chapter. My parents were disappointed that I wasn't able to stay in the US. They kept asking if I wanted to find another job in the engineering field and what I would do from now on. The persistent question of what I want to do from here was a daily occurrence. I went back home with nothing. In Asian culture, if you are the one who escaped the third world country to the first world country, and then you go home with nothing, you bring shame and pity upon yourself and your family. It was the lowest moment of my life. That feeling of guilt and self-loathing to be failure, dangling heavy above my head and strip away all my confidence. I self-isolated myself from everyone around me and avoided looking into their eyes as if I was afraid they could see the failure in me. My family said nothing, but their disappointment was palpable. It hung in the air between us. All of the money they had invested in helping me with my education was gone, and for what? They poked me every nudge to apply for jobs in my field, so that their financial support for my education was not for nothing. Releasing my life in the US was the turning point for me to do something different. For the first time, I could clearly see that accepting my family's financial help meant that I had to be someone they expected me to be. There's a lot to discuss here in this chapter, so I don't know we can like talk about everything, but I would like to go into one point of the theme in this chapter later on. So let's continue. Next page. The level of influence and control that came with it, all of the strings are attached. At rock bottom, I realized I had nothing to lose, and somehow there was a sense of freedom, that it was time for me to become someone I wanted to be, independent from whom my parents wanted me to be. I didn't want to just survive. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to be free. This was the beginning of forging my path. I started to ask myself, where should I go from here? What do I want to do with my life? I promised myself at that point that I needed to do something else differently, something that would make me happy, something that would make me feel alive. I needed to stop following the masses conditioned by cultural norms. I didn't just isolate myself physically, but also mentally. I blocked all the noises, opinions, and suggestions from others. I blocked everyone out of my life for two reasons. Firstly, I was broken and ashamed of myself with a deep disappointment of my failure in the US. Secondly, I no longer wanted to be influenced by others and society. I wanted to seek my way of living. Occasional solo traveling was how I disengaged with my family and co-workers to have the time of my solitude. During this time, I fell in love with traveling even more, despite how others perceived me to be reckless and weird to travel alone as a female. I constantly received comments or questions from locals about my reason for solo travel. It's not a common thing that people usually see in Asian culture. The rebellious side of me only grew from here, with a deep desire to express myself living on my terms. I started to care less about their opinions and judgments. The more I stayed in solitude, the more I wanted to break free from the trap of society. Though I faced many hardships of inner and outer criticism in this time, on the flip side, I discovered many beauties of Asia that allow me to understand my birthplace in a way that I didn't know before. In the past, when I chased the status of a first world country as the US, I disregarded my country and refused to see its beauty. This first experience of coming home, I learned to look at my home country differently in a more humble way. When I chose to accept my fate, I stopped fighting for justice or blaming others for what happened to me. Instead, I asked myself what I could do to make the best of my situation, since traveling brought me the most joy. I used this time in Asia to create many memorable moments that one could have in this lifetime. I did almost everything I wanted on my bucket list. I floated a lantern to the sky in Phuket, Thailand, for New Year Eve with the most epic party I ever had. I swam on the beach at night on a remote island of Cambodia among the planktons, one of the most mystical creatures I ever saw that illuminates bioluminescent light, like dragonflies in the water. I got to see the incredible scene of Angkor Wat at sunrise, one of the world-renowned UNESCO World Heritage Sites. I attended one of the biggest cherry blossom festivals in Japan, with 2,500 cherry trees that took me through the world of a surreal fairy tale. I trekked through the Sapa Mountains in Vietnam with the indigenous, where I felt like I traveled back through ancient times. These experiences helped me understand Asia and have a deeper appreciation for hospitality and kindness that I didn't get to see before. People would always go out of their way to help a stranger in the best way they could. On one occasion, I was literally rescued by the poorest farmer family when I fell off my scooter traveling through the mountain road of Vietnam. They helped with all their heart, even though they had nothing. It's the purest kindness that I was so fortunate to experience in this lifetime. They lived the simplest and modest life, but their hearts were so rich and golden. It was this incident that intrigued me to further exploration in the simplicity of life. After many months of being in the abyss of depression, I finally saw the light shining through the lantern held by the hermit. I saw the way out and turned my circumstances around. As I learned to see the positive side, I started to enjoy my life in Asia. It marked the end of the hermit. I was now ready for the second stage of the alchemical journey, dissolution. So, journal prompts, these are the questions that I ask by the end of each chapter just to help you to reflect on your own life journey. So the questions are: think of the time when you had to go through a very difficult time in your life. Did you bend to the circumstance or did you overcome it with courage? How did you deal with it? If you could, would you do it differently or have regrets about your decision? What is the outcome of that decision, good or bad? What did you learn from a high perspective? So this chapter, it was the time where I came back to Vietnam after living in the US for 12 years. So I was very disconnected with my own country because there's so much I can talk behind about it. But let's speak about the traveling aspect of this chapter that I wanted to go into, because I think it's pretty cool. And I think a lot of people on here are also interested in traveling as well. So I went back to Vietnam after 12 years living in the US, and during that time, my time of staying in the US, a lot of people told me that I was very Americanized. Um, for coming to, because I came to the US when I was quite young, and to be honest, I did not even have like that many Asian friends when I were in the US. There weren't that many Vietnamese students in my school. Like, yes, in the school, but not like in my department, like in chemical engineering department or like biomedical engineering department. So I didn't have that many Vietnamese friends. It was only like my first year when I was in high school that I had a Vietnamese friend. So it's kind of like my own culture is like kind of slowly stripped out of me. It's since as I lived in the US. So after so many years, because I have more like international friends and American friends, I guess I started to carry their manner, and so that's why I feel like I was somewhat like, that's what they told me, I was somewhat like Americanized, and they didn't feel like I share a lot of like Vietnamese culture with them. I remember like whenever I went to hang out with my friend in Boston, they always have their own group, and I was the only Vietnamese in their group. I didn't have my own Vietnamese group, because I felt very disconnected with the people, with the culture, and with my own country. And I think one of the reasons for that was because I never thought anything good about Vietnam. There was like many bad reputation about it. First of all, like racism, communism that I didn't really like about the country, and the poverty as well. And back then, I don't know about now, but back then there was kind of a cultural belief or societal belief that the Western world, like America, is always better than Asian countries, always better than Vietnam. So it's like if you get to go there, you know, you have higher status. So it's like if you look at so if you look at Vietnam and like South Asian countries, because they're a lot poorer, so it's like we don't uphold that pride coming from like the third world country. And that was the reason why I didn't like my country, because it felt poor for me. It felt like I don't want to associate with those people because they're low class people, and they're not educated. So I think I did carry a certain pride within me for being able to come to the US and obtain higher education. Like I mentioned in my previous chapters that I was like all chasing material status, like higher and higher rank in like education and better job, better corporation. Like I had to go to like the best school in the US, the best engineering department. It's all about to get that pride, you know. I think part of it is the type A mindset, like being high achiever, but part of it is also being influenced by that culture. You have to be in the best of the best to bring pride to your family and your culture when you go back home. So when everything like collapsed for me in the US, and I lost everything, that was when I felt with the fear of shame, because Hare Krishna, because status was very important for me, right? So when I lost everything and go back home with nothing, like that fear of shame and that fear of failure, it was like swallowing it every single day. Like I couldn't believe that happened to me. But until like, and when I lost everything, that I was able to kind of like something knock on my head, and it's like, you know, you have to do something differently. And not allowed to chase status anymore. And so that was the reason why I blocked everyone out of my life during that time, 2 years that I lived in Vietnam after going back to Vietnam from the US before going to Canada. So I lived in Vietnam for almost 2 years. And when I was able to block everyone, like on the noise, on the traditions, my family is Catholic, and my mom kept pushing me to go to church whenever like I went back home and I lived with them, and it annoyed me so much. In the beginning I tried to please her, but in the end I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. So I stopped all of that. Eventually I stopped like pleasing other people. I stopped everything. And when I was able to do that, it was a little bit clearer for me, like what I really wanted to do and who I really wanted to be at that time. And because there always constant pressure of fear and the push from my family to get back to my my previous life, I was like, I had to travel. I needed to be on my own, because it wasn't enough like to block everyone out of my life because I live with my family. So every chance that I had, I buy the ticket to go somewhere, because I was able to travel around South Asia with a visa. Only to Japan I had to obtain visa. So I took that opportunity and I explored South Asia because that was the only place that I could travel without planning too much in advance. And whenever I feel frustrated, I just go and I travel. Kind of like an escape for me from my family and from everything else. And I had an amazing time exploring Southeast Asia, and including Vietnam, that I didn't get the chance to explore before. So I did solo traveling when I was in the US, and I felt safe traveling in the US. I didn't feel so safe traveling in Southeast Asia. So I was a little bit skeptical. In the US, there's always big civilization, and there's always some kind of medical care, and if anything happened to you, like you can call like 911. Not in Southeast Asia. I got into a lot of trouble. I got stung by sea urchin. I fell on I fell between the gap of the platform and the train, on the subway in Singapore. It's like one of the fastest subway, and luckily people pulled me out. I lost my phone in Thailand. I fell off my scooter in Vietnam. So there was like a lot of accidents happen whenever I travel, but like I couldn't help it. Like I was like, I still wanted to do it anyway, because every time I get to check off and travel and go somewhere just by myself, it just felt so relief, and it felt so free. Like I'm just free. Like I didn't have to deal with anything else. And because of that, I was able to see the beauty of Asia. Like I heard so many good things about it from my expat friends in Asia at the time, or even in America. I heard so many good things about it, but I never felt like anything good about Asia, because that was like where I came from. So until like I decided to change my perspective, and I was like, if people could see good things about Asia and about my own country, the foreigners, how couldn't I see it for myself? And I think that was the curiosity that led me to solo traveling, to explore. Because if other people can see it, I want to see it too, because I'm so sick of being stressed and depressed and sad all the time. Like, I wanted to find something that make me feel excited and happy. And traveling was the only way for me at that time, like, to explore. So until I asked myself that, until like I observe other people, and ask them like, what is it that they see about my country, my city, that I didn't see before? Because I feel like, because I was from there, so I didn't want to explore it. I thought I knew everything, but clearly I didn't. I had to admit, like, some of the expats there, they know so much more than me, and they were the one that actually tell me where I should go, where I should explore, where I should go eat. So I thought that was really interesting, and until I got to do that, until I look at things in an outsider perspective into my own country, into South Asia, then I get to see, I get to open my mind, and I get to see the beauty of it. You know, it's kind of like in photography or even in video. Sometimes you put like your phone in a certain angle, it doesn't look good, but you change the angle, it looks a lot better. So it's all about perspective. So for all of you that you feel disconnected to your birthplace, to your home country, and I know a lot of people do, because I had so many conversations with solo travelers and with expats in Asia, and a lot of them told me that they're not happy with their own country, and that's the reason why they wanted to travel. Just like either people complain too much over there, is bad culture, or like they're not happy with their family, so they wanted to travel. So I know that a lot of people travel because they feel frustrated, but until I get to learn to see the beauty of my own country, my own birthplace, I wanted to travel because I wanted to know more, and I wanted to explore more of what other beauties in different places in the planet. And I'm not so upset about where I come from anymore, because I had so many amazing experiences, and I get to see, I get like, this was the rumor that the northern Vietnamese is very aggressive and not as friendly as the southern Vietnamese, and until I go and explore it for myself, I realized that's not true. That wasn't true at all. So it's really come down to individual perspective, and whether we have our own pride or our own opinion about certain things that make us favorite like certain people or certain culture a little more than the other. And I think that's where the separation come from. That's where discrimination come from. So when you travel, you get to see many people and many cultures in, and open to it, open to explore their culture, their way of living. You would find, this is my own experience, you would find that you don't carry that like national pride anymore. Like, to me, like if anyone asks me, I don't care like whether I'm Vietnamese or Canadian. It's more like being individual. Like I just feel like I am individual myself. And because of that, I can open myself to fit in to so many places. And I'm so flexible to open my mind to like anything, any culture and any people. And by doing that, I feel a lot more connected to wherever I go, to immerse myself into different culture, and I get to understand it in a deeper level because when you understand the way other people live in different cultures and put yourself into out of your comfort zone and learning something new, learning something else different, you not only you can connect to other easier, but there's a sense of oneness. Like you would understand the concept of oneness, like why we are all one, why we are just connected, like rather one big earth rather than like small countries or like separated countries or provinces or because like for me when I get to see myself or like be at that place of just I'm just one individual, because I have already embed so many different cultures in me. I have already explored and see so many different things and engage with so many different people from all different cultures, from Africa, Asia, Middle East, and America. Like my friends is like I feel like my friends all over the world. Like so many, like I got to explore and like and get involved into so many different things, and that's how the traveling aspect get me to more connected with so many other people and to be immersed in that culture and to be like one with everything. Really, I hope that I make sense that way. It's kind of makes sense in my head. So that's one of the benefits of traveling, because it helps you to it helps you to connect, and it helps you to gain your knowledge as well, gain your wisdom and your knowledge, because there's certain things that we do to solve a specific problem, but other culture they probably have different solution. Thank you, Krishna. So they have different ways of solving things, of doing things. So by exploring, by getting to know different culture, you have more knowledge in order to, in like just for own like solution, like problem solving, to be more creative in problem solving. Because we get to expose more. The more you learn, the more knowledge you have, the more knowledge you have, the more creative you are in problem solving. And so I think that being able to travel is such a privilege. And because we get to learn, we get to explore, it's open our mind. When we have like all the borders open, that is when we can obtain that oneness, and that is when the freedom on earth can happen, like only one nation and not multiple separated countries. Because if that what happened to me, it can happen to other people who actually will travel as well. And I have spoken to several people who are also the nomad who also get to understand the spiritual aspect, the personal growth aspect of travel. And they say the same thing as well. They experience similar things that I also experienced when they get to understand that. But for people from the third world country like me, because there's so much visa restriction, we don't have that opportunity to see different culture, to see how the rest of the world actually live. So they have to be in their own bubble. And when they get to be in their own bubble, they also there's this certain pride, and they cannot develop, like in order to grow, like they would need to get different knowledge and like different perspective. And I think because of that, it's a lot harder for people in this country to obtain knowledge and education in order to go and develop. And like for people here in America, like I find that the people actually travel are so much friendlier, and it's just so much more interesting to talk to them, and so open-minded to learn and engage with the foreigner. And often they're a lot more well educated. That's what I see with people who travel, and people who do not like to travel tend to stay within their own bubble zone. And often because of that, like I said, often because of that, there's like a barrier. They would, because they want to stay in their own zone, so there's a barrier there. And they, if they not open themselves to get to know the world, to explore the world and connect with other people, we still gonna have that border exist within our world. And that's the reason why we have separation, and we have discrimination. So I do really believe that the opportunities for traveling really help to bring the world together. So if you have the chance, go and travel by yourself. If you're not too comfortable, travel in a group. But be open-minded to get to know the local people, to have the adventure, and really dig deep down into the culture and where you actually travel. I think the beauty of solo traveling is because when you travel solo, you don't have anyone around you. You're a lot more flexible. You don't have to compromise, and it push you to get to meet other people. And because of that, you get to learn more. You get to explore more than traveling in a group. I see. Good for you, Krishna. So I see that people who travel in a group, this is my own experience when I do solo traveling. Whenever I see a group, they're not very open to meet new people, because they like to stay in their own group because they already have their own activities, and it's already difficult enough to like to compromise on the schedule and the destinations like where they want to go together. But when I solo travel, it was so much easier for me to connect with another solo traveler, and we can just like group together and then we go do things together, and it was a lot of fun that way. And that's how I get to learn so much about different cultures. So yeah, traveling is education, and it's a privilege. And I hope that one day we will be able to have that privilege open to everywhere, to everyone in the world, and there's no more border. Because we all deserve to learn, to explore, to know, to seek the truth, what we want to know. And for those that not being able to go explore, they can't find what their soul want to find. They can't seek what they wanted to know, because there's always a barrier there. So I do really encourage people here, for those that who can, go explore the world in your own way, however that you want to explore, however that you want to travel. It doesn't necessarily have to be van life, but it can be any way of traveling. Will teach you something, and there's gonna be so much more that you're gonna gain about it. And if you don't have the luxury to travel internationally, then explore in your own country, explore in your own place, whether you can look at it in a fresh eyes, to be curious about it, to look at it from like an outsider, look at it from the eyes of the tourist or the traveler that just come into your birthplace, your country, or your city. What is it that you wanted to see? What is it that you want to explore more about that place? From there, it will give you more courage to expand your horizon, to go see more, and bigger and farther places. If you don't have the courage, if you're scared to go and travel on your own, maybe try to do that in your own city first and see how you feel. Because if anything happens, if you get so anxious, you still have your friends and your family there. But go and explore it by yourself, not with other people. Because when you do that by yourself, when you do and solo traveling, you do everything by yourself, you get to learn more about who you are, how you respond or react to people. Good for you. Because of that, with those reaction and respond and how you choose certain things or certain place, will help you to know who you are as well. And that can also help you to diminish the problem of people pleasing. Because sometimes you have to choose to go certain place or do certain things because other people want to do it, but not because you want to do it. So when you have that time for yourself to follow your passion, it may lead you to a certain destination that you may never know before, that maybe even better than you can ever think of, and also push you to connect with other people as well. So I hope that this chapter is inspirational for many of you to travel and to get out of your comfort zone, to go seek your passion and to exercise your right of freedom, and to learn to love, and to learn to love your own place and where you come from. There's always beauty in the world, in any culture, in every region of the earth, every corner of the earth, there will be beauty, including your own place. So go find it and seek it and enjoy it and embrace it. Because only when you love your root, you will find that you don't have to travel or to escape anymore, but to explore and to find all the beauty. that will help you to release the pride of your own national pride, and help you to be more open to other people, and to be more connected to other people, and hopefully that will guide you to be on your path, your life purpose, when you are more connected to the world, and when you get to be when you get to live with an open heart, then you can start being more aligned with yourself, with the universe, and with other people, and exercise that will of freedom, because when we get to utilize you're so antisocial. Yeah. If you antisocial, go be with yourself first, and just be in nature and be with yourself first. It will help to open you up, and when you're softer, and just when you're ready, then you will connect to other people. But I can't emphasize enough the privilege to exercise your freedom, because that's what I did. I utilized whatever freedom that I had to travel South Asia, and I believe that was the reason why I gained the freedom that I had now. It's kind of like if you look at an investment. You invest, maybe like, I don't know, you invest in stock, or you invest in a cryptocurrency. So you put a little bit, you utilize whatever money that you have, and just let it grow. And I think it's the same way that I did as well, because I utilized that the freedom that I had in order to feel free. So this is really important in terms of manifestation and law of attraction, because you have to be free first before you can actually get more freedom. But in order to be free first, you have to be in the present, and to realize that you have freedom now. And in order to see it that way, you have to be in the present first of all. And you have to utilize what you actually have, and turn the circumstance around in order to expand it. 1 second, my nose is running, sorry. The winter is so hard for me because I have sinus. So the law, the way it works is that if you get stuck, for instance, during that time, because I felt like I was stuck, I felt like I didn't have the freedom. But when I was able to block on the noise, right, I was able to find a way out. And the reason I find a way out is that I utilize that right of freedom in order to expand and obtain more freedom. I will read your comment later, Krishna. It's a little bit long, and otherwise I'm gonna be like on the wrong track, like I can't remember what I'm talking about. So I think this is an important point for a lot of people to understand, to start exercising that manifestation, is that when you are able to utilize even just a little bit of what you have, your freedom, your happiness, whatever, But of course, that's the reason why Eckhart Tolle said this is the power of now. Yeah, you would have to stay in that present and block everything else out of your territory in order to understand what you have and utilize it, and exercise it. And when you are able to exercise it, put it in action, then you will start to feel more free. And when you feel like, and I'm saying freedom is just one example, and you can do this for like other things as well. So when you feel more free, that is when you can manifest freedom, because the law of attraction works with the vibration and the feelings it radiates or emits your vibration. So when you feel free, you're gonna attract more freedom into your life. And from there, you can expand your wealth, your health, your freedom, or whatever that you want to manifest. Basically, that's the path that I did. Inadvertently, I didn't understand so much about the law of attraction at the time. I knew about it and I exercised a little bit, but I didn't know so much about the concept of be, do, have, which is very popular now. And when I look back to my past, and I realized that was exactly what I did, and that's the reason why it led me to where I am now, to be able to have the van life. Because if I didn't do that, I don't think that I would be able to have the immigration to come to Canada and have the van life and have the life of a nomad. If I didn't like utilize my freedom then and explore my old birthplace, I wouldn't have the freedom now to travel in Canada. And so I hope that's what you get out of this chapter, because it's very short chapter, but it can be very deep, especially for those that love traveling, and hopefully that you will gain good insights from it. And now that you understand what's this like to have more freedom, to use manifestation to obtain your freedom or expand your freedom. And I really want everyone to gain more freedom in the world, because that's what we really need right now. And I think it's important for us to start doing the inner work and to expand ourselves, so we can have the world open up from the inside. But not so much more about conflict and discrimination and more restriction in the world, because I think we all have enough of that. But this is also the time for us to start being reflective, because we have seen what this was is like right now, right? Because what happened in the collective is reflecting the dominant energy of the society that we live in right now, and that is all fear-based and reactive to fear. And because fear is contractive energy, and that's why we have restriction. We feel being contractualized as contraction is like more bottle, and it's like enclosed. So, and that's what we have, right? Because that's what we have right now. That's why I think it's very important for all of us to start doing our inner work and exercise our right and will of freedom. Only by doing that we can help to open the world and overcome this flow of the pandemic. So okay, I think this live is a little bit longer than I expected, but there was a lot to say. There's some other aspects about this chapter as well, but I don't think I'll have so much time to explain everything. But that is pretty much the main point that I hope people will get out of this chapter. Let me look at the comments again, see if I have something to say about it. Krishna said because of traveling, then we can be a good, positive, and uplifting influence to others who have attracted to low nature, language, and other habits. Yes. Or you can teach others when you travel as well. Wisdom is best served with wisdom. And be wise when you travel, because you can definitely be in a lot of danger. So don't make a lot of reckless decisions like I did, for sure. I did make a lot of stupid decisions just because I was curious. So be wise and stay safe whenever you travel. Be careful. Even though the world is very friendly, people will always there to help you. But it's still your responsibility to take care of yourself first and not engage in danger whenever you travel. So use your discernment, your own judgment to make decision whether it's a good thing to do or a good place to go or not. Just don't put yourself in danger. First of all, be safe first. That's the reason why I moved into an apartment during the winter time, because I don't want to put myself in danger. After so many lessons after so many lessons with traveling, I prefer to stay safe and humble now rather than being so reckless. I could if it's just by myself, but now with Marco I prefer to stay a little bit safer, and he seemed to be happier inside as well. Okay, so about my book, do you guys have any other questions? Please just leave a comment in the chat now and I'm happy to answer it. Otherwise, I'll just go and talk a little bit more about the book here. It's freezing. Yes, it's so cold here. We got like a foot of snow since yesterday. Yeah, so even if you make mistakes, it's the lesson. So just don't criticize yourself too much about it. We all learn from it. Thank you so much, Krishna. So about my book, if you would like to get a copy of my book, it's on Amazon. I'm working to expand my publication, so it's soon gonna be available through Lulu and Barnes and Noble and some other places as well. So it'll be more flexible wherever you want to enjoy reading in different places, in different platforms. Hi, Swan City. When oh, it's good to see you. It's long time no see. Hey, I am in the East Coast right now. I don't know where you are at the moment. So, Chrome, I wrote a book about my traveling and my spiritual growth. So you can pick up a copy. Now the safest place to pick up a copy from Amazon at any format, ebook or paperback or hardcover. I know that hardcover is a little bit difficult with Amazon, So paperback is yeah, traveling through. I love the name too. So paperback is probably the safest option. It just took a little bit longer with printing the hardcover copy. So if you have read the book, please leave me a review on Amazon. That would be really helpful for me to basically be shown on Amazon page so other people can find my book and can gain the inspiration and the lessons that I have put in the book, and to help them to find their own path and to find their own freedom as well. So, but other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this live. Thank you so much for everyone who's joining, and long time no see from. You would have to message me later where you are now. If you are in Nova Scotia, let me know. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be in Atlantic area probably until fall. Probably until fall this year, because I want to travel and explore the Atlantic coast now. I can't wait. I can't wait for the summer to come. But now, stay safe and stay warm, everyone. Thank you so much for joining my live. And feel free, if you have any more questions or comments, feel free to comments in leave the comment here in the video. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good night. Bye.